Afternoon. Welcome to part 3 of a Slightly Shambolic Shuffle around the Haynes International Motor Museum here in Somerset. I've got special permission to film here because I'm now classed as a commercial channel, viewers, which is a strange thing to be. We've had 2 parts before, and now we're in the sort of American section of the museum. It's a lot bigger than when I came here in 1998. This is a 1958 Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner. It's got a little tub in it for putting your stuff so you don't lose anything. This isn't the same car that was used in Thunderball. That was an earlier model of 57. This is a 58, but same sort of principle. I don't really know much about American cars for this. We might go a bit more quickly in this bit than normal. 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air, not a 57, a 55, not so outrageous as the 57s. 1949 Cadillac Fleetwood sedan. 1949 Chevrolet Fleetline Deluxe. The Cadillac and the Chevrolet kind of look similar, but I don't know if there are any parts shared between them. Certainly the sort of design of the car looks very similar. 1947 Chevrolet Fleetline Aero sedan. This one's right-hand drive. That's interesting. Maybe it was a Canadian production for somewhere, yeah. Supplied new to a teacher in South Africa, that's why. 1940 Buick Series 40 2-door coupe. And this plate is wrong, it's a 63 plate, but this is a 1939 Packard 120. Another make that's been sort of lost in the midst of time. Beautiful, luxurious car. 1937 Oldsmobile L37. I can't say I know anything about them. Again, that's a right-hand drive car. Maybe that also came from South Africa. Is this what I think it is? Yeah, it's a Cord Beverly from 1935. Interesting. I know nothing about things like that really, apart from the sort of coffin nose. You want to see a Cord driven on YouTube, then look at the video from Mr. Richard from the Furious Driving channel. 1936 Auburn 852 supercharged boat-tail speedster. I do like the Auburn boat-tail speedster, viewers, because it was featured on Remington Steel by Pierce Brosnan. Well, it's a right-hand drive Cord as well. That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen one of these for a long time. Very, very, very advanced car, but unfortunately didn't go so well. And a 1931 Duesenberg Model J. Yes, probably the trinity of American luxury in the 30s, and all those companies don't exist anymore, unfortunately. So much earlier stuff here. Curved dash Oldsmobile with a steering tiller from 1903. And a 1909 Reliable Dayton. I've never heard of Reliable before, but here it is. It looks a little bit tricky to steer, this. Oh my gosh. Oh, help. Let's leave that alone. Don't want to touch that. Not going to go well with someone like me driving that. And of course, you can't have a museum without a Ford Model T. This is a 1915 Tin Lizzie in black, of course. 1934 Ford Model AB. Very different looking from the Model T. I'm sorry about the lighting, by the way, viewers. Stanley Steamer. What year is this? 1921. Very sort of stately looking thing, isn't it? I think that's a boiler just in there. 1913 Empire Model 31 5-seat Tourer. Never heard of that make a car before. 1920 Moon. Again, I've forgotten that these cars even existed. It's really sort of weird selection of cars here. 125 Stearns Knight Model S. Never heard of a Stearns car before. Some video going in the background. 1928 Jordan Playboy. It's very appropriate for that sort of time before everything went wrong the year afterwards. Willis Jeep, this is a 42. Again, you're kind of in a museum about a Willis Jeep, and here is a DeLorean. This DeLorean being driven, I think that's the track that they actually have at this particular museum. An 81 DeLorean, there only were two model years, 81 and 82. Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, I think this is called the C2, this one's called. I forget, I'm not very good at this, stuff like this, viewers. That's from 63. Another Chevrolet, this time a very early Camaro. This is a 67 Camaro SS 350. Saw a Firebird earlier on, that was very similar to the Camaro of the 70s, but a Pontiac version. 2006 Chevrolet Corvette convertible, I think this is C6, if memory serves me correctly. Here the Pontiac Bonneville ambulance in the background there. 1965 Ford Mustang. Similar to one I think used in Goldfinger, this one. First year of production for these was actually 65, although it came out April 64. The fastest selling car in the world at the time. Another Chevrolet Corvette Stingray here, although this is a later one. It's a 69. And again, an earlier one from 1960 here. Let's go and have a look at this Pontiac Bonneville. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this. Just absolutely, utterly ridiculous. Wow. Superior, I think, is the name of the company that made the ambulance body. Goodness gracious me. That's huge. Ooh, 1979 Lincoln Town Car. I know someone who really loves these, Mr. Brisdian. 1979 Ford Country Squire LTD. Those headlamps, I think, move. Not like they do on this one as well, though. They'd be disabled for some reason on this Lincoln Town Car. Did away. It's a bit of an early one. The 65 Cadillac DeVille. Look at the front end on this and how elaborate that is. Ah, the Edsel. What can we say about the Edsel viewers? It didn't go right for them. They perceived there was a gap in the Ford product range between sort of Ford, I think, and Mercury, or Mercury and Lincoln. It's very complicated, but essentially everything went wrong that could possibly go wrong. And the Edsel only lasted a couple of model years. This is a 59. I can't remember what type of Edsel this is actually. 1959 Cadillac Sedan DeVille with the largest tail fins I think I've ever seen on any car ever. Absolutely and utterly ridiculous, but an icon of Americana. Crazy. Right, let's have a look at some other stuff from United States. 65 Mustang, it's 64 plate, but probably 65. That is presumably undergoing some restoration or something. 1969 Dodge Charger, yes, sort of bullet shape, but not exactly the same model. I think this is 68, so ones used in bullet. '70s Chevrolet El Camino SS with pickup. You can just sort of see the bed back there. 1964 Chevrolet Impala. It's quite a handsome car actually, the Chevrolet Impala. It's enormous though. 1959 Ford Thunderbird. Looks quite similar to a 58 actually, that. And then AC Cobra 65. Don't know whether that's a 427 or a 289. 1938 Lincoln Zephyr 63 plate, but that doesn't really mean anything because that could be when it came in the country. That's right-hand drive as well. Wow. So it's actually sold officially over here. It says price tag of £350 in Britain. Maybe it was, I don't know. Still got that ambulance in the background. 1937 Ford V8 Model 78 Deluxe Woody. It's a very long name for... Wow, again, the car doesn't exist anymore. Haynes Light 12 from 1917. Did the founder of the museum, John Haynes, did he buy this just because it was called Haynes? I don't know, maybe he did. And then, final car in this part of the museum. It's a Cadillac Model 452 from 1931, Madame X. Madame X was designed by Harley Earl. Bizarre name to choose for something like this, but there we go. And you can see the engine really nicely in there too. We won't go up and see the motorcycle viewers because I don't really know anything about them, but we'll take a brief look at some of the Williams racing cars that are here. It's not trying to be why we're here, but we'll take a look anyway since we're here. 2016 FW38. Lots and lots and lots of highly tuned engines in the background. 2008 Williams FW30. 1995 FW17. Now this is the sort of shape I remember F1 cars being. And it's Damon Hill with a Renault engine in this one. Oh, I remember this as well. Is this? Yes, it is one that Nigel Mansell raced. FW14. See that the noses were quite different on cars in the early 1990s with the F1. Yes, in 1991, the man with a moustache and a flat cap. 2001 FW23. You can see the nose is completely different on this one, and by this time they're using BMW engine. I could go in the F1 cinema viewers, but it's not going to be worth me going in there because I won't really be able to actually say anything. So we will continue. Something I would have been told off if I'd actually completely missed is this Harley Davidson. It's a Jaguar Glide. I don't know what year this is. Maybe the plate will tell me. No, that doesn't really help. But yeah, there it is. I'm afraid we don't know anything about motorcycles viewers, so we're going to continue and take a look at this Jaguar over here. Is this actually a Jaguar 420G? Yes, it is. How silly. Yes, it's got a number plate. A 00, so Essex plate, Jaguar 420G, which was the successor to the Mark 10, made until about 1970. 1998, Jaguar XKR, but interior looks very nice. Might be beige leather viewers. Very nice. This is 4.2 E-Type. I've actually driven one of these. It was a 66. And this is the fixed head coupe, not the 2+2. One I drove was a 2+2. It was 66. And it was rather agreeable. It's on the channel. So if I mention a car like the Allegro and the P4 and the P6, things like that, there are actually reviews of those cars on the channel on the playlist. Oh, this is interesting. I always thought the Jaguar 240 that was like a sort of run-out special edition, effectively, of the Mark II, actually had very different bumpers. Actually, it does. They look like an S-Type. This is the sort of kind of poverty spec, I suppose. It's for 240, and it's just all sort of used up body shells like that before the XJ series came in 68 and basically replaced almost everything in the Jaguar lineup. But earlier on, huge, big, heavy Jaguar Mark 8 from 1957. Big, big, heavy car. Nice XK engine though. Ooh, 1949 Jaguar 3.5 litre saloon. So this was the Mark IV. Is this an XK 150? Certainly looks like it. Yes, 1959 Jaguar XK150 drop head coupe. Beautiful condition. So many of these cars are in stunning condition. Let's get a little bit round here so we can have a look at this interior. There we go. That is really nice. Mr. Richardson from Furious Driving does like red leather. I prefer beige leather myself, as most of you probably know, but I do understand what he means. 1951 Jaguar XK120. In contrast from the Aston Atlantic that we saw in part 2, it's a very different type of car, isn't it? Very different. With that beautiful styling by William Lyons himself, I believe, and also with the amazing XK engine. Something a bit different is this Aston Martin Lagonda. This will be a later one. Are those Ford Capri door handles? They probably are. With the sort of funny dash and stuff. Yeah, it's an 82, so it's a later one. I think they made it until about 1990. Oh, viewers. 1967 Aston Martin DBS GT. There's one of these in an episode of The Avengers from '68 called Split, and also there was one of these in on Her Majesty's Secret Service, sort of gunmetal grey. I think GKX8G, I think that one was. I think that would have been Advantage. Aston Martin DB4 body shell having a nice restoration. 1952 Aston Martin DB2. Beautiful old cars. Oh, a Jensen Interceptor Mark III from 1973. Just change hands there. Here we go. Yes, I do like Jensen Interceptor viewers. Particularly one that's used in Robert Vaughan in The Protectors. And a Jensen CV8, one of those, or a later one, was used by Steve Forrest in The Baron in 1966. This is a Mark I. I think for one of the Baron was a Mark III. It had a little sort of funny trapdoor thing on the bonnet. This one doesn't. Some Lotuses. 1971 Lotus Europa. What engine's in this? Is this? Yeah, it's the Renault engine in this, from the Renault 16. Later ones, I think, are a Lotus engine. 1996 Lotus Elise, a very early Elise. I think it's first year of production for these, actually. For your eyes only spec. 1981 Lotus Turbo Esprit. Yes. And it's on a factory plate. Oh, viewers. I prefer the white or the bronze ones, though, from For Your Eyes Only, because we like Bond films on this channel. 1959 Lotus Elise Sports Coupe. That's right at the back. I think it's a Coventry Climax engine in that one. This one's been modified a bit. 1967 Lotus Elan Series 3. Yeah, it was very similar to the one used in the 5th series of the Avengers with Diana Rigg. That was sort of powder blue colour, but I think it was this specification though. It was a 66 model. 1977 Lotus Elite. This was, I think, introduced about the same time as the Esprit. I remember it might have been the year before, I can't remember exactly. Yeah, the 74 it says there, so yeah, year before. 1973 Jaguar E-Type V12 Roadster, so this is one of the last E-Types. I think we're pretty much 74. I did enjoy driving that E-Type, because I must confess it was amazing. So it's about 2 years ago in the New Forest. This one, very different to the car, much larger grille, different engine. And this one, is that? Yes, this was a manual, you could also get auto. Oh, Jaguar XJ220 with rear lights from an R8 Rover 2 and 400. Excellent. And then Citroen CX door mirrors. This one is a left-hand drive one. What year is this? It's 95. Kind of would like to have a go in one of those views, but whether I will get a chance to, I don't really know. I think we're in the last section here. It's been a most enjoyable trip round, I must say. Very grateful to the staff here for letting me have a go with filming. Triumph TR6, we saw some other TRs a bit earlier on. Which would have been in the red room over there. 1975 Triumph TR6. Very nice. With fuel injection in this country from Lucas. Yeah, it's a little bit of a controversial system. Triumph TR8, so Coventry plate, so quite possibly supplied by British Rail themselves with the Rover 3.5 litre V8 engine. The TR7's had a 4-cylinder engine. And this has got an interesting sort of safety cage type thing on it. And there we are, the later type of interior for the TR7/8. Ooh, 92 Hindustan Ambassador. These were actually sold over here for a little while in the early 90s. So this one worked as taxi in Mumbai. I've actually travelled in one of these in India in 2014. I think they finished production about then. Based on this sort of 1950s Morris Oxford design. I remember the headroom being a little bit compromised in it for some reason. But there it is. Yeah, they're still all over the place in India. They're all over the place. Ooh, a DAF 44 Variamatic. Don't mind if I do. They're actually not that expensive these if you want to buy one. I mean, they're very, very, very rare cars in this country. But they are quite fascinating. That's a 71 on a J. I had a Bricklin. I've never seen a Bricklin before in real life. Malcolm Bricklin, the chap who imported Yugos in the 1980s to America. The good old Yugo GV. This was his own sort of personal product. I think they were built in Canada. It all went wrong though, unfortunately for him. See, the bumper sort of slides in if you were to hit anything. The doors, I think, are a bit of a nightmare. I remember seeing one of these driven at London Classic Car Show 2019, and they couldn't get the doors to work properly. It was appalling. So, Bertoni X19, because it's a very, very late one, this. So F would be 89 only, because that's when production finished for these. It could be an 88, I suppose. But the badged as Fiat, and then I think after about 84, 85, yeah, I was right, it was an 89. So that's a 1.5. Ooh, BMW 2002, 1973, predecessor to the 3 Series. I do like these, they're quite nice looking cars. I'd like to have a go at something like this actually at some point. It would be nice. Facelifted Mark 1 Golf GTI. I'm sure there are many people who will be very fond of this car. This is an 82, so quite a late one. 1979 Beetle convertible, so a very late one. It's the year production finished in 79. Although production of a normal Beetle continued in a lot of other places, finally ending in Mexico in 2003. Never actually driven one of these years. Oh, we like this. I do like this. This is a facelifted Toyota MR2 Mark 1. I can't remember the model designation for this, but this is a facelifted one. It says 85, but that's not an 85. Not only is that plate from 87, 88, this is the facelifted one, so yes, but we'll let them off, it doesn't really matter, does it? Ooh, a Sinclair C5. Again, we find ourselves mentioning Mr. Richardson from the Furious Driving channel. That, again, was a total disaster, the C5, launched by Sir Clive Sinclair. Ooh, a Hillman Imp Californian from 1967. Don't mind if we do. I would like to try a Hillman Imp at some stage, viewers. I think I can probably try one at some stage, but we'll have to see about that. Very rare car. Ooh, the pre-1994 phone code on the back as well, 0625. Honda Matic as well. It's a tiny car, this. Really, really small car. Is it the N600? There's also a Z600. Gosh, I don't know if I fit them up very well. 1965 600D, also made all over the place. I mean, other places in the world, maybe under license, Germany, and also I think in Spain and all sorts of other places. 1959 Renault 4CV. It's funny just how much this car looks a bit like a Beetle because it was a rear engine car. So it's just Fiat 600. It's a Heinkel bubble car, is it a Trojan? Yeah, it's a Heinkel. Oh, it says Heinkel there and Trojan there. Yeah, but they were made, I think, in Brighton. Maybe in Croydon, maybe in both. I don't know. 64, that plate isn't necessarily wrong because up until about 65, they didn't necessarily have suffix plates on all cars. 2001 Smart City Coupe. I've never driven one of these. This is one with this semi-automatic gearbox or something. I think they were only available in left-hand drive for a while. And here's a Messerschmitt with the 2 passengers. You've got to be joking of 2 passengers in there. Dear me. Yeah, with the passenger probably sitting behind the driver. It says KR200. Ooh, very nice. Mercedes SL Roadster 190 SL from 1961. Worth an absolute fortune these days. Pagoda SL, which is the next one on. This is a 1970 280 SL. This one's an auto. Again, an iconic car. Renault Caravelle, also known as the Floride. But the later ones were just called the Caravelle, they're everywhere. Based, I think, if I remember, on the Dauphine. This is a right-hand drive one. 67 is a very late one. I think production finished about 68 of those. Oh, a De Tomaso Pantera in the same colour I think that Elvis Presley's once was. Right-hand drive one. It's an original UK car. Ford V8 Power with this one. And the engine is under there somewhere. 1967 Trabant 602. I'm sorry, 1976, sorry, I do apologise. These kind of look the same for a while. The body was made of a thing called Duraplast, which was cotton mixed with something else. Strange. Another strange Eastern European car, this Tatra. It's a very late one, this. It's got all the fancy bits on it and nice leather interior and stuff like that. But Tatra, unfortunately, no longer with us for car production. It's a 94, so a very late one. Ooh, is that a Chaika? Wow. 1959 Gaz Chaika. It's a little bit like a Packard from 1955. Enormous car. Is that this the one with the parking brake says CRRP if you transliterate it? Look, there's a little instruction on the dash how to drive it. Huge, huge space. I mean, it's actually a 7-seater. It's got jump seats in the back. Citroen Traction Avant. This is a 11 CV, a very late one. It's a 55. I think they made them after the DS had come out because they wanted a sort of cheaper car to make alongside it for a little bit, so everyone was used to the design. So this is a 67 DS19. This one be a very late one, sort of pre-facelift, because in 68 they had the quad headlamps introduced, which turned with the steering wheel. 58 2CV, I think they call this a ripple bonnet. This isn't the Hubnut channel, viewers, so don't quote me on my experience with Citroens. I don't really know anything about them. This is so basic in there. That is insane. And that isn't a very early car, because I think those didn't even have a rear window. Ooh, yes, a very, very rare car. There's one of these also in British Motor Museum. This is a Rover ST1 3500, but an estate version. Didn't make very many of these. This is a 77, a Coventry plate. And Michael Edwards, who was in charge of BL in the late 70s, this was his personal car for a bit. So there were only two of them actually used. I think it might have been like a Renault 5 rear end, I can't remember. Land Rover Series 2, 58. Right, we're almost at the end now, viewers. I think this is the final room before I will exit and have some lunch. And it's full of minis and derivatives. There's a Mini Moke up there. 1969 Riley Elf Mark III on an H, so 69 only. Last year, for any car, we're using the Riley name, with a 1 litre engine, 38 horsepower. Its close relative, Wolseley Hornet Mark III. Interesting with these, they introduced the later type of door to the Mini derivatives before the Mini itself had received it, with the door handle and exposed hinges there. A bit more useful in terms of the boot space as well on the back. This is a 1965 Morris Mini Cooper. And again, you can see the exposed hinges and the sliding windows and the sort of house-type door handle. I think I can just squeeze in there. There we go. There we are. And I think that's still got his number plate on it. This is, I think, the prototype Mini. We wanted to put a new engine or something. Yes, the 9X, which actually has a 1.5 litre engine. That's why the front looks so weird, because the 1.5 wouldn't have fitted in a Mini that had a conventional front end like that. Much higher off the ground as well, and it's still got the oldest style door handles and windows and the hinges, but also a more modern mirror. 1965 Mini, this is after the car stopped being called the Aston 7, which I think was in 61, and this is the Super Deluxe. There's one of these in the late 60s series ran on Honker Deceased. It's a red one, which is I think a 64. There we go, Aston 7 with a 7 in the middle. Very late one, this one. 2000 Mini Classic Cooper Sport. So one of the last ones really. Production finished in October 2000. Production finished of these. And here's a little cutaway of a 1960 model. I can just stand inside it like this. You can see things like the handbrake mechanism and where's the dip switch? It's on the floor somewhere. And that's all the heating and ventilation that you got, because I don't think Alec Isagonis wanted you to have anything else. Interesting, you can sort of fiddle around with paint types and stuff like that on it. So we will we'll now make our way to the exit. On the way out, just looking at this surface, this Bajaj thing, which is all over the place like India. There's an auto rickshaw. I've been in one of those, and it was mildly terrifying. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this part 3 of the Slightly Shambolic Shuffle around the Haynes International Motor Museum. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more of the same. Like this video and leave a comment below. It all really helps out. And see you again soon for more less than perfect shuffling.